Alright, welcome to the 14th video in the PHP e-commerce series. My name is Curtis and we're here on Free Skills. I'm going to try to start getting some of the branding and hopefully soon a intro video. But we need to get this series knocked out first, and we do have quite a ways to go, and I apologize to those of you who have been following along and waiting for my next video. I've had a lot of issues with the family and my father's sick. Has been in and out of intensive care for several weeks now, so that kind of put me behind, but he is out of the hospital and doing well now. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and fire up my server. If you have Windows, or you guys just do however you normally fire up your server, this is how I do it on Linux. Just using XAMPP here. If you're using Mac, you can use MAMP or whatever. You can actually just use XAMPP as well. So that's loaded up, so I'm going to go ahead and open the file up in Atom. So that's in a file called htdocs, and we're working in tutorial, or whatever your root folder is. So I'm going to go ahead and open Atom. However you normally do this, you don't have to do it through the terminal. That's just the way I work typically. Give that a minute just to open up. While that's loading, we can go ahead and look at the site now. We have localhost / and then the name of your program here. So here's what we have so far on the front end. We have this all working dynamically, and we've started building the back end of the site so that a store owner or shop owner can add products, and we've done brand and we've done category. Today what we're going to do is go ahead and add products to where we can add products to the database, and this video is going to be, this will probably be several videos long, just because it's kind of more in depth than the last two that we've done. Not harder, just a few more things to kind of work out as we go. So let's go ahead and open up here. We don't need categories open this time. Okay, so let's go ahead and right here in the admin folder, we're going to create a new file. We'll call that products.php, and we will go ahead and open our PHP tags here, and we need to go ahead and do our includes. So one of the first things that we want to do here is require in, we'll do require once. The require once, and then we'll do server. Do server document root, and we'll concatenate onto that core init PHP. Probably need our / here. Okay, save that. Just see if that works really quickly. So to get there, we're just gonna do / products.php. Okay. So we just need to add the root folder. So for me, it's tutorial. And for you, it's whatever your project name is. Alright, so that's good, just a blank screen. We'll go back here now, and let's do, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and include our header. So includes header.php. We need to include our navigation PHP. Okay, and then we'll skip down a few lines here. We'll open up PHP tags again, and we will include the footer. Okay, now see what that looks like. Alright, we got our menu here and our footer. That's all working nicely. Let's go ahead and add the menu item for products here in our navigation. So if you just look in the includes, and under admin includes navigation, we could just copy this line here and paste it. We'll change this to products and change this to products. We'll save that out. We don't really need to do anything else with that. Refresh. Now we got brands, categories, and products. Alright, so we don't need that file anymore today, so I'll close that. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put an H2, and we'll give it a class of text center. Close the H2, and we will just put products here. Next thing I want to do is an HR, just kind of keep it consistent with the other pages. And then what we're going to do is add a table, and this table it's going to be just like a normal table. However, we need a button above it to add, so we'll just start with the table first. So we'll do table, and we'll give it a class of table and a class of table bordered, and we'll do table condensed, and let's also do table striped. Okay, and that will, we'll close our table tag here. Alright, now we will do T head. Okay, and T body. I like to just kind of set this table up as we go. So in the T head, we got TH. Okay, and we can actually, I don't like the way that happened. We're going to do these in line for the head. You can, if you want to skip down a line for each one, that's fine. If you like that, make your code look a little neater. But this page is going to get kind of lengthy. So the first one we're going to leave blank because that's where we're going to put an edit and delete buttons. The next one we'll put product, and then we'll do price, and let's do categories, and then we'll put another one here. Okay, we'll do two more, and we'll do one more here, and we're going to put featured and sold. We won't be doing anything with sold right now, but later we'll populate each product that's sold. We'll keep a running total of each, how many have sold in each deal. The featured is we can turn them on and off from the product table quickly to add them to the front page or not. Okay, so what we need to do to populate this is we need to run an SQL statement here. We're just going to say select star, which is select all, from products, where, well, we don't even need to do that. So select all from products. What we might want to do is where deleted is not equal to 1. Let's just take a look at the table and make sure we've added that. So to look at our database, it's just localhost and then / PHP myadmin. And then when it opens this up, you find your database that's for your project. Let's look in products here and just kind of look at what we have. So we don't have a deleted category yet, but we're going to add one. So let's just go ahead and do that now. So we'll go on, click on structure, and we'll just add one column here at the end is fine. Hit go. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to call that deleted, and we'll put this at tiny int, because it really only needs to be, you know, one character. We're going to do a default, and the default will be 0, and then hit save. And when we change that, if we delete a project, that will get changed to 1. So we won't actually remove it from the database. We're just going to set that to 1 when we delete these. That way we still have the products in our database, and we can reference them later, just to look at reports and things like that, but they won't show up on the page. So we'll just say deleted. A better term might be archived, because we're not actually deleting them from the database, but I'll just leave it as that. If you want to label it archive, you can. So where deleted is not equal to 1. We could have easily done where deleted equals 0. It's the same logic. That's fine. And then we just need to execute the query. So I'm going to call this p results for product results, and make that equal to db query SQL, and I'll have to take a break here. Alright, so now that we have p results here, we can loop through in our body. So what we want to do here is we're going to want to do open up PHP tags, and we'll do a while loop. Okay. And we're going to use this syntax here. I don't know how that happened. Okay. And we'll close PHP, and we'll go down a few lines, and we're going to open PHP again, and we'll say end while. That time it gets a semicolon, and this time it gets a colon. So what we're going to do inside of this while loop? Well, we're going to do a new row every time. So we do go ahead and open our row, and inside of our row we're going to put each one of our table datas. Okay. Copy that a few times, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say while product equals MySQLi underscore fetch sock, and we're going to pass it in that p results. There we go. It sounds like a bad test at the hospital. P results. So for each product inside of our database, we're going to have this. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is we're going to go ahead in this first row, we're going to add 2 buttons. And they're just going to be links, actually, to our href. We're going to give it a class of button, extra small, and button default. Okay, and all of this actually needs to be in double quotes. Okay. Okay, that's our class, and we'll go ahead and close that href. Inside of that, we just want to put a span, some span tags, and we'll go ahead and close the span. We're not going to put anything inside the span, but we're going to give this a class equal to glyphicon, and then glyphicon, I believe it's pencil. Let's save that out and take a look. Yep, pencil. So you can see we have 2 rows here and we have 2 pencils, and that's because in our database we have 2 products. So we're on the right track here. So let's continue filling these out. So if we look in our database now, we have title. So that's going to be our next one. Well, let's go and put our delete button in. So we're going to just copy this whole line here. And what we're going to do is change this glyphicon pencil to, I think it's close maybe? We can always look at, no, it's not closed. Let's look at getbootstrap.com and here we got CSS. Let's go to components here and glyphicon remove. That's the one we want. So it's not close, it is glyphicon dash remove. That'll be for our delete. The only other thing we got to do here is we're going to give these products.php, so we're going to send it back to the same page, but we're going to give it edit equals, and then right there what we want to do is go ahead and open up PHP, and we're going to echo out, so we'll do the shorthand for echo, and we're going to echo product ID. Okay, so we can copy all of this because it's pretty much going to be the same for the delete, except for this won't be edit, it will be delete. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so if I hover over that, you can see edit equals 1, edit equals 2, delete 1, delete 2. Alright, so that's that. Okay, so we got that. So the next one we're going to do is product here, which is going to be super easy. If you notice, we have title here in the database, so all we have to do is right here, we're going to open PHP and echo product title. Okay, refresh, and there we go, Levi's jeans and beautiful shirt. The next thing we want to do here is we're going to put price. I can't remember, let's look at our helpers file. Okay, one thing we want to do with price really quick is I want to create a function here in the helpers, and what this function is going to do is we're going to call it money. How about that? It's going to be called money, and we're going to pass it whatever we want. We'll pass it a number. We'll just call it a variable of number. And then all we want to do here is we want to return the number format of number dash 2, and what we'll actually do is put a string here, we'll concatenate on that, and we're going to do the money sign. And I don't know if we should do a space there or not, but now we can just use this money and we can put our number in there, and it's going to format it to 2 decimal places and put a money sign, a US dollar sign in front of it. So let's go ahead and do that really quick under price. So if we look at database, we have price. So what that means is in our products here, in the next group here, we're just going to say PHP echo, and we're going to say money because we just created that function, and inside parentheses there we're going to say product price. Alright, so if we look at that now we have the dollar sign and the $39.99, so that's formatted correctly for us. That way if there was a product that would be like something even, like $45, it'd be 45.00, and it would still have the money sign. So that little helper will save us time. Basically all we're doing with that is now we can just type money and put what we need formatted instead of having to type this every time. It just saves us a little bit, and now we got that little helper function. Okay, so we have money. The next one is category. We're going to skip category just for a minute, and what we're going to do, we're going to use plus and minus here. So what we're going to do is featured. We'll skip categories for just a moment because we're going to have to do some logic there. And right here, this is going to be our featured. And we have to do some logic here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put href, or an 8 anchor tag here, and we're going to call it featured. Oh, well, we're going to need some quotes there. So products, we're going to send it back to the same page, and we're going to put featured equals, and we're going to skip the number here for a moment because we have to do some logic there as well. Okay, so but what we're going to also do is give it a class equal to glyphicon, and then glyphicon dash something. So we're going to have to do some ternary operators here, and what I mean by that is we want it to be a plus if in the database this featured right here, if it's 1, that's going to show on the front screen. So we want our button to be a minus if that's 1, but we want it to be a plus if that's 0, so that we can toggle it back and forth just from our product page. So right here under equal, we're going to tell it if we're going to set it. What we need to do is do featured equals, and we're going to open up our PHP tags and do a ternary operator. Okay, and we want it to say, I'll go ahead and do this, and we're going to put featured equals 0 there and 1 there. So if product featured, okay, if that is equal to 0, we want this to be 1. Sorry, if that is equal to 0 in the database, we want it to print 1 here because it's going to change it to 1. It's like a toggle. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we're going to add another part of the link here, and it's going to, we had to do an and we need to pass it an ID. So the ID is going to equal product ID. Okay, so that link is products.php, and then we're use the question mark to pass it some get variables. So the get variable will be featured equals, and that'll be either 0 or 1 based upon the opposite of what's in our database, and the ID is the product ID, so that when we click that button we can write some logic for it to change in the database. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we want to, this class right here, we want it to be plus. So what we need to do is have another PHP ternary operator here. So we'll do equals. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and close that out. So we want it to be plus or minus. So what we want is if product featured, okay, if that is equal to 1, we want the button to display minus, else it's going to display plus. So let's take a look at that. If I look in my database, both of them are 1. So what should happen, okay, we need to put those as buttons, but we have minus here and minus here. If we look at the ID, it's going to set that featured equal to 0, and the ID of 1, and that will feature to 0. So that's working correctly. So let's go ahead and change. Sorry about that. Just had a brain fart. So let's go ahead right here then, and we need to make this button. We need to actually make this thing have a class also of button. You know what we kind of did wrong? Well, what I did wrong here is we want the button to have a class of button, button extra small, button default. Okay, and then what I want to do is inside of this anchor tag right here, this gets a span, and that span actually needs to have a class, and that needs to be the glyphicon stuff. So I'm just going to copy all this here, or cut that, place it here, and then the class here will just be that. So the class of the link itself is the button, button extra small, button default. The span that's inside of the link is going to be the glyphicon stuff. So let's take a look at that now. There we go. So those are buttons. What might be helpful too is right here, so that it doesn't get confusing, maybe we can print featured or something like that, if it is featured. So I know this line of text is getting really long, so let's go ahead and break this down a little bit here, just to kind of give us a little something to work with here. So right here, I'm also inside of here, I want to do a non-breaking space. So non-breaking space, and then I'm going to put we're going to do a PHP operator here, and what I want, a ternary. I like to use these a lot. I'm not going to put anything if it's not featured, but if it's featured, we're going to write featured product. Okay, and right here, what the check we want to do is if product featured is equal to 1. So if the featured in the database is set to 1, we want to print out featured product here, and if it's not, we're not going to put anything there. So I'll save that, refresh the page, and we don't want that inside of the button. So what I need to do is right here, we're going to put that outside of this. Just clean this up a little bit. Sorry about this, guys, I'm a little bit tired. So now if it's a featured product, it says featured product. So we can turn it off or on here. So that's a little confusing, but anyway. Perhaps what we could do really quickly is go ahead and set that up. So what we can do now is we do an if statement. So if $if is set $_get featured, okay, right? If that is set, okay, and it's not empty, we're going to say $_get featured. Okay, so that means if that button's been pressed, and put it at the top of the page here, what we want to do is we're going to get the ID. Okay, so what we're going to do is ID is equal to, and we're going to cast it to an int. So for a little bit of security, we're going to say $_get ID, because we have that passed through our link, and then featured is also going to be an integer, and that's $_get featured. Okay, so that'll be what is determined by the link. If I hover over here, see, so what we're going to do then is we'll write an SQL. How about featured SQL equals, and we're going to say update products set featured equal to, and then in single quotes we're going to say featured, and then we only want to do that where, so we're going to say where ID equals, and then in parentheses ID. Okay, so we're just saying update products and set featured equal to featured, so it'd be either 0 or 1, where ID is equal to the product ID here. So we just need to do 2 more lines here, and that'll be done. So then what we're going to do is we're going to run that, so db query, and then we're going to pass it in featured SQL. Okay, and then we'll do a header redirect here, so location products.php. Alright, let's test that out. So if I refresh the page now, if I hit minus there, so what I think's going on is this check right here. I don't think this is ever running. I don't think there's anything wrong with our query here, but I think something goofy is going on, and this is something weird kind of with PHP, that what's happening, I believe, is right here, featured, if it's set featured and not empty featured, since featured is set to 0, I don't think this is running. So what we could do is just say if is set get rid of one of those. If is set get featured should work. Okay, so that works. So now if we look at the database and refresh, both of these are 0 now. So if I want to feature these products on the front page, we just click these and then they say featured product. Okay, so pretty cool. So that's working. So now we can change and update featured products, and that will actually change on the front end of the website. So if I actually turn both of these off and go back to the front of the website, there shouldn't be any products on the front of the website. See, because there's no featured products. So we've already kind of built that into it. So now, if I want to just show one, we'll put the Levi's jeans on there, and we'll go back and look at that. So now we have the jeans but the no shirt. So you guys get it. I'll just set it back here. We'll feature this. So whoops, go back to the home page here, and so now they're both back. So that's kind of how we will handle the front page. Now the rest of these, when we get to it, we're just going to query these by ID, and then it'll show the products just by the IDs. So these will all be super simple as well. Alright, so let's get back to the admin area. I'm going to say products.php, and we just got, for now, we've just got to add this category here, what we're going to do for now is put 0 in this last one just so it doesn't look empty. And right here, this is going to be our category. So we've got to do some work to get the category. So inside of our while loop here at the very top, what we want to do is so right here at the top in this while loop, at the top of the while loop, inside of the PHP tag, I'm going to basically set the category of the child element. So what we need to do is say child SQL, okay, and we know what actually child ID. We know what this is because child ID is equal to product, okay, product of categories, because we're storing the child element, is the one that's actually important in the database. Okay, so what we need to do is get the parent. Okay, so what we can do is we can run a query, and we're just going to call this cat SQL for category SQL, and we're going to say select all from categories where how did I do this before? Said 6 and 5. 6, 5. Okay, select all from categories where ID equals child ID. Okay, so we need to run that query. So what we're going to do is we're going to say result equal, and then use our database object and run our query method and pass into that the cat SQL. Okay, so we can now say that inside of this result we can say cat equals, and what we have now is we can do a MySQLi fetch a sock, pass it in result, and now we have an associative array of cat for category from the actual child element. Okay, so now we have to do one more to get the parent. So what we can do now is say we can say we have parent ID now is equal to cat parent. Okay, so now we can say select we can do PSQL for parent SQL equals select all from categories where ID is equal to parent ID. One thing I just noticed too is all of this up here I didn't put these in quotes, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Select all from categories where ID is equal to child ID. Okay, so now we just need to run this query, and I'm going to call it pResult equals db, run our query method. If I can type, that would be awesome. PSQL. Okay, and then what we have now is we can say parent is equal to MySQLi fetch sock, and we could pass it in the P result. So now we have two we have cat and we have parent as associative arrays of the IDs. So what we got to do now is to make this easy. I just want to say category is equal to, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the parent category, and we're going to concatenate on a string here, and I'm going to put a tilde, which is above the tab, a shift, and then the space above the tab, and then I'm going to concatenate on category. So now we have category, this category string here, which is the parent, tilde, and then the child. So actually it makes more sense to just call this, instead of cat, we'll call that child, and then we'll call it child right here. Okay, so now inside of here, all we have to do is echo. We just need to echo out category. And I know that was kind of a long roundabout way to print this, but remember in our database we're only storing, let's go back to products, we're storing just the one child category ID inside of our categories. So we had to go in and do a search and find, you know, this is the ID. So the first one was 6, that's our pants. So what's the parent? Well, the parent ID is 1. So if you look up here, that's men. So what should happen is it's going to print men tilde pants, or in the other case it would be like men tilde shirts. Okay, so let's see if we did that correctly, if I did that correctly. Okay, so we have undefined variable cat. Okay, we'll look at that. It's just because I changed that. So let's look back at that now. And that was on line 24. So right here's line 24, and indeed I didn't change this to child after I changed the other. So that should work now. Alright, so now we have men pants, men shirts. So we can tell what the parent category is and then what the child category is. And that would coordinate to the menu items on the front page, or on any of the pages on the front end of the website. Okay, the last thing we're going to do in this video, and then we're going to move on to the next video, is we're going to add the button here at the top to add a new category, or I'm sorry, to add a new product. Instead of under the H2, in between the H2 and the HR, which is that line, that horizontal line, horizontal rule as you'd call it, we're going to put an href, an anchor tag here. We're going to give this class equals, we're actually going to give this an ID so that we can do a little something with it in our CSS file. And that's it. Okay. The href, what we're going to do here, actually let's go ahead and put add product there. In the href, we're going to do products.php, and we're going to pass it a get variable of add equals 1. That's fine. And then the class will do button success, which will make it a green button. That's the Twitter Bootstrap class. And button success, and then we'll give it an ID of add product button. Okay, so let's open up our, well, let's take a look at it before we do any CSS to it. Oh, I want it to be on the right hand side here too, so let's go ahead and give it another class here. It's a CSS class of pull right. and that will float it to the right. Okay, and then that looks a little goofy, so one thing I like to do is just go ahead and do a div right after this, and we're just going to give it a class equal to clear fix, and we're not going to put any content in that div. That's just going to break that float. So the thing that we want to do now is in our CSS, if you notice this button is way down here, and I want to tuck it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is in a code on the main, inside of our CSS here, we'll go to main.css. At the bottom here, we'll just add, it was add product button. Okay, and what we're going to do is just say margin top, and we'll do a negative 35 pixels, and you need a colon right here. Hit save, and we'll refresh the page, and that'll just draw that up a little bit like that. I think that looks pretty nice. Add product, it's all the way against the right of the page there. I guess that looks okay. But basically, when you click that, we will add on the same page. We'll get rid of this table. We'll add our form for adding a new product. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and build out that form,